Hello you guys, and welcome to another Let's Paint video. I want to thank Matthew D. Wheatley, sorry I pronounced that wrong, for suggesting this video's theme, Jak and Daxter. So with that, let's get started on today's video. For the background, we're going to be using burnt umber. We're actually going to be using 3 different types of paints. We're going to be using nutmeg brown and nutmeg brown with white and the burnt umber that I'm using right now. Now we're going to be careful not to paint over the drawing that I have there, just so I know where I need to paint and I won't lose that in the paint. This is the nutmeg brown, and as you can see, the nutmeg brown is a lot lighter than the burnt umber, and the third color is going to even be lighter than the both of the paints that I have set down, and this is what it looks like with the 3 colors. I'm going to be moving on to the goggles. I'm using this color called Melted Chocolate and Nutmeg Brown. I'm going to be using those two for the goggles, just so we can see the different shadows on his goggles. So we're just going to outline it and then paint it in, like so. And if any of you guys are wondering what kind of paint that I'm using, it's called Apple Barrel. And I get it at my local Walmart. If any of you guys are curious as to what paint that I use, that's the kind of paint I use. Right now I'm using the melted chocolate with white. Yeah, right, white. Sorry, memory escapes me. Okay, so yes, we're going to be using the brown with white and then coloring it in with a melted chocolate. We're going to be using a lot of brown, especially because Jak has a lot of belts. And here we're using the nutmeg brown. And it's just so we can see the difference between the top belt and the bottom belts. Now we're going to be moving on to Daxter. Now I've never done fur before. This is actually the first time I've painted fur. So what I'm doing right now is getting a paint called Pumpkin Orange and using it with brown to do the shadows of his fur, since the fur on the bottom is dark and then it goes on to lighter orange and then to lightest orange. So yes, I'm using a combination of pumpkin orange with nutmeg. So we're going to be painting that, and I'm doing small strokes for the fur, because I didn't want to get too long on the strokes because I was afraid that it might actually not come out like short fur like Daxter has. So right now I'm doing jack-o'-lantern orange with white. So you yes, I'm gonna be changing a lot on those two oranges, especially because Daxter has shadows in his fur. So right now I'm doing the pumpkin orange with brown again and doing longer strokes, since animals' furs are actually longer in the body than they are on the arms and face. So this is the jack-o'-lantern orange and the white, just slightly, just so we can see the light being captured on his fur. So this is what we're going to do, just small strokes again, and cover up this part with the pumpkin orange. And the pumpkin orange is a lot darker than the jack-o'-lantern orange. So as you can see, I'm doing the pumpkin orange on his fur and moving it slowly outward from his arm, and now we're doing his face with yellow, and I'm trying to mix in the yellow with the fur on the back, the orange, just so it can look like it's part of the fur and it's actually being melded in with the rest of the fur. So right now we're using a paint called Classic Caramel. and we're actually gonna do small strokes again. And I'm actually using also a bit of more yellow in the end. After I finish this part, we're gonna put like a bit of yellow just so we can see that there is still some light fur coming through. And as you can, here it is all done, and that's where I put the bright yellow. It's small and it doesn't see very much, but that's okay. It's just faint, and that's what we want. So and it didn't come out too bad for my first time, so I'm kind of happy for that. And right now we're doing the eyes, and it actually looks a lot better with the eyes. I think once we do the eyes, it gives Daxter more of life in him. So yeah, actually I love how Daxter came out. Now we're gonna be doing, well, moving on to Jak. We're gonna be putting in the green hair in first, and I didn't grow up with playing Daxter, so I actually had to watch some playthroughs of him, and I actually liked it. I liked it a lot. But anyway, sorry. Um, Now we're gonna be moving on to the yellow on his hair. So we're gonna move slowly but surely on his hair. We're gonna be doing small strokes for his hair just so you can see that there is hair, and I'm just doing short strokes because that's what I know best when working with hair. So now, and yeah, we can't forget his eyebrows. I put on the base of the eyebrow dark green, and then putting in the yellow right outside. I also did that for his goatee, and tried to mix in the yellow with the green just so you can see how it looks. So now we're moving on to his skin. I'm using this paint called Sunkissed Peach with the Nutmeg Brown, and we're actually gonna put in more Nutmeg Brown just so we can have that dark shadow in his skin. And yeah, it's pretty dark, but it's okay. We're gonna be blending it with more peach, like pure peach. Right now it's mixed with the Nutmeg Brown, but this is just so I can give it some shadow on his face. So we're going to be working with small strokes on his face, and it actually will come out once we do the eyes. Trust me, it looks better with the eyes. I don't know what's up with me and the eyes, but once something has eyes, we're in business. Okay, so we're gonna be coloring that in with the sun-kissed peach, sorry. And yep, we're just gonna be painting that through. Make sure to paint all that white in, and I'm gonna be skipping to the ears really shortly. Okay, here are the ears. And we're going to be doing the nutmeg brown with the peach, but not too much of nutmeg brown. Just so, because I didn't feel like it should have been that dark. Once we clean our brush, I'm going to be putting in just the sun-kissed peach on the ears, and that's how it looks like. And now we're going to be doing the eyes. This is the part where I was really, really waiting for to do the eyes. So we're going to do the black, and I'm just painting over what I have drawn on the canvas previously. I'm just going to paint it in. Actually, I paint the entire thing in, and even the little sparkle, and I go in to do the sparkle of his eyes with white later on. So that's what it looks like with it. And I actually painted ahead. I thought I was recording when I was doing this, but I was not. I'm sorry. But let me explain what I did. I'm actually using a blue called Cobalt, and I'm just painting it through on his armband. Yeah, right. I'm gonna call it an armband because that's what it looks like to me. But yeah, we're gonna be using the cobalt blue just to paint in his shirt and stuff. But now we're gonna be using blue called blue cotton, and I mixed that in with a bit of cobalt blue just to give that color, and it looks pretty white. It does. And then we're going to be using a bit more, add more cobalt blue, and it gives off that neutral blue. But I just wanted that so you can see the different shades in his armband. And I'm going to put cobalt blue with the with black to give us the shadows on the back of his armband there. So I'm just gonna, just so it looks relative to the shadow on Daxter's, because everything on the right is shadow, and then moving on to the left where the light is. Now we're going to be working on the goggles, and for the goggles what I use is the metallic silver. And actually for the silver you might want to use some white and some black. The white is to give off that shine that the metallic gives off, and the black is for the shadow. But make sure not to put too much black, because if it does, it gets really dark and it's really unforgiving to take it all out, because the silver is so thin of a paint. So just be careful with the silver. And yeah, I did a mistake right there, and it's okay. It was wet, and I did it fast enough so it wouldn't stay on there. So this is where I'm using the white, and just so you can see the shine on his goggles. His goggles are actually pretty cute. I really love his goggles. Okay, we're gonna put more silver, and now we're gonna move on to the tunic. I want to say a tunic, but I'm not sure what it is. But I'm using the burnt umber and the nutmeg brown to give off the shadow. The shadow is mostly the burnt umber and the melted chocolate that I said earlier. The paint that I said earlier. Yeah, that's what I'm using. And slowly, and now we're gonna, yeah, that's how the tunic came out. And now we're gonna move on to the belt. What I'm using for the belt is gold, classic caramel, and nutmeg brown. And these belts are giving me a lot of trouble because, yeah. And yes, I am holding onto the canvas, so it does slip once in a while. So for this part, I just painted and let the recording go. So yeah, you can see the things moving around in the background. Sorry for that. But yeah. So for this, I'm just doing outlining it with the melted chocolate, and it looks like little shells right now. But once I put in the nutmeg brown, and actually outlined it with gold on the parts that look like little moons on the bottom. Yeah, I outlined that with gold. So you'll see what it looks like when it's done. So this is done for the most part. I would like to take this time to thank you guys for being patient with me and my videos. If any of you guys have any feedback on how to make these videos better, please let me know. Also, if you guys have any ideas for projects or paintings for the next video, also let me know. I do read your comments and messages. So yes, please let me know. I want to know things that you guys are interested in. Uh, and yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you guys so much for watching and liking and subscribing. I'll be back soon with another video. Okay, till next time. Bye!